I didn't install the security cameras because I was afraid. That's the explanation I give when people ask. It's clean, logical. It makes sense in a way that doesn't invite follow-up questions. The truth is harder to explain without sounding unstable. I installed them because the house felt aware of me, not haunted, not cursed, not possessed by anything dramatic or obvious. Just aware, like a quiet presence that didn't move or speak, but still noticed when I entered a room. Like something that didn't react to me because it already knew I was there. The house was old but not ancient, built sometime in the late 70s. Nothing historical, nothing special. Just another structure tucked into a quiet neighborhood where people waved politely and never asked personal questions. I moved in alone. That detail matters more than I realized at the time. The previous owner had died quietly. No crime scene, no investigation, no stories worth spreading. He was found sitting upright in a chair, television still on, volume low, like he'd stepped away and forgotten to come back. The neighbors said he kept to himself. They said it the way people do when they mean more than they're saying, but don't want to explain further. I was fine with that. I kept to myself too. The first few weeks were uneventful. The house creaked in the way all houses do. Pipes knocked. Floorboard sighed. Normal sounds. Comfortable sounds. Then the morning started feeling wrong. It began with small things. A window unlocked that I was certain I had latched the night before. A door not fully closed. Lights turned off in rooms I hadn't entered. Nothing was missing. Nothing was damaged. There were no footprints, no signs of forced entry, no alarms triggered, just subtle changes that suggested movement without evidence. I told myself I was forgetting things. Stress, adjustment, new environment. But the feeling didn't go away. It grew sharper, more specific. The house didn't feel empty when I left in the morning, and it didn't feel empty when I came back. That's when I installed the cameras, 4 of them, front door, back hallway, living room, staircase. Nothing excessive, nothing obsessive, just enough to reassure myself that whatever I was feeling had a rational explanation. For the first few nights, everything looked normal. Grainy footage of empty rooms, shadows shifting with passing headlights, the occasional insect drifting too close to the lens. Then I noticed the gap. Every night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., the footage stopped. Not paused, not frozen, not corrupted. It simply wasn't there. From 2:17 to 2:34, the timeline jumped ahead like that part of the night had been cut out and discarded. No error messages, no warnings, just absence. The system logs showed the cameras were active, recording enabled, storage available, no interruptions. The footage had never existed. I checked settings, restarted the system, updated firmware, replaced cables. I even swapped out one of the cameras entirely. The gap remained. Always the same time. Always the same duration. At first, I didn't notice how my sleep changed. I started waking up a few minutes before 2:17 every night. No alarm, no noise. Just a sudden awareness that pulled me out of sleep like a hand on my shoulder. I would lie there staring at the ceiling, listening. The house sounded different at night. Not louder, not quieter, just closer, as if the walls had leaned inward. Sometimes I felt like if I moved, I would interrupt something. I never saw anyone, never heard voices, never saw movement, but the cameras kept recording, just not for me. The first sound appeared a week later. Low audio picked up by the living room camera, barely noticeable at first. A faint rhythm beneath the static hum of the microphone. Breathing, slow, even, controlled, not mine. I listened to the clip over and over, telling myself it was airflow, interference, mechanical noise, anything that didn't imply presence. Then the footsteps appeared, not loud, not rushed, measured, intentional. They moved from room to room, always just out of frame, always during the missing time. The pattern was consistent. Whatever was moving through the house followed a route, one I recognized without remembering how I knew it. It avoided obstacles. It never hesitated. It never doubled back, like something that had walked those halls many times before. I stopped sleeping in my bedroom after that. I moved to the couch, closer to the cameras, closer to the exits. The house didn't react. It didn't need to. The first image appeared on a Thursday morning, a still frame saved automatically by the system. Timestamp, 2:17 a.m. It showed the living room. From above, there was no camera on the ceiling. There had never been. I checked. I climbed on furniture. I opened vents. I inspected light fixtures. Nothing. In the image, I was asleep on the couch. My face turned slightly toward the wall, my chest rising and falling in slow, unaware breaths. The angle wasn't hidden. It wasn't careless either. It was deliberate. Whoever took that image wanted to be seen. Just not yet. I didn't call the police, not right away. I didn't know or footage that appeared without being recorded. I didn't know how to say that my house was watching me without sounding like someone who needed help for reasons unrelated to home security. The police came anyway. They knocked just after sunrise. 2 officers, calm, professional, curious in a way that made my stomach tighten. They asked about my cameras. They asked about 2:17 a.m. They already knew the time. They asked me to show them the footage. I told them it didn't exist. They exchanged a look and showed me theirs. The video started at 2:17 a.m. It showed my front door opening, not forced, not broken, opened. Something entered the house. The camera angle wasn't mine. It was closer, lower, as if the camera was standing in the room rather than mounted to it. The thing paused. Then it turned toward the lens, slowly, deliberately, like it knew someone else would be watching later. The officer stopped the video. He didn't look at the screen. He looked at me. "That thing," he said carefully, "has been recording from inside the walls." I moved out the same day. I left furniture behind, clothes, photos, anything that required time or thought to pack. I didn't argue with the lease. I didn't ask questions. I didn't go back. The cameras are still there. They're still active. Every night at 2:17 a.m., I receive an email notification. I don't open the files. I don't need to, because the subject line changed last week. It doesn't say motion detected anymore. It says observer active. And tonight, for the first time, it included my name.